aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion's carried. On to consent agenda, we've got minutes from the regular city council meeting minutes of May 12th, 2025. Minutes from the boards and commissions, water, light commission meeting minutes of May 19th, 2025. Law enforcement center joint powers board meeting minutes of May 14th, 2025. Water and light commission meeting minutes of May 5th, 2025. Board of review meeting minutes of May 1st, 2025. Heron Lake watershed board meeting minutes of April 16th, 2025. Application for parade permit or to block streets, Independent School District 518. Application for parade permit or to block streets, Solid Rock Church. Financial statements of municipal liquor store income statement for the period of January 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2025. Wilson Park statement of revenue and expenditures, budget and actual through April 30th, 2025. Field House statement of revenue and expenditures, budget and actual for the period of January 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2025, and bills payable.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried.
All right, moving on. Public Facilities Authority, or PFA, loan extension. In August of 2021, the city and the PFA entered into a loan agreement relating to financing improvements of the municipal wastewater treatment plant. The agreement made up to $30,322,821 available at 1% interest for a 20-year term. Under the terms of the agreement, all project-related expenses incurred prior to June 30th, 2025 were eligible for reimbursement from loan proceeds. Through April of 2025, $28,183,189.45 in loan proceeds have been dispersed, and Public Utilities has repaid a total of $3,562,821 in principal and $601,956.09 in interest. Public Utilities staff was recently contacted by PFA staff inquiring whether Worthington was interested in extending the current June 30th, 2025 deadline for eligible expenses for 1 year through June 30th of 2026. While the vast majority of project's expenses have been incurred, staff anticipates that there will be additional expenses incurred after this June 30th, and indicated to PFA that we would like the 1-year extension that was offered. This extension would not have any impact on the loan maturity date, which is August 20th of 2041. PFA staff is currently working on the extension document, which must be executed prior to June 30th of 2025. The agreement will be offered by a DocuSign, and council is requested to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the extension documents once it is received. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to try.
What kind of expenses qualify?
Any of the construction related expenses. And staff has requested that they extend the eligibility date for 1 more year.
Given the interest rate, seems to be a no-brainer.
Yes.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried.
Next item is nominating committee appointments and reappointments. The nominating committee meeting met on May 22nd, making the following recommendations. On the Planning Commission, appoint Craig Stock for the first 3-year term. On the Airport Advisory Board, appoint Brian Larson, first 3-year term, and appoint Andrew Dorsey to fill an unexpired term that would expire on September 30th, 2026. Council action is requested.
Move to approve the appointments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried.
Next item is commitment of spending plan fund for wetland mitigation at the South Shore Apartments development. Keepers Architects and Builders is moving forward with plans for a market rate rental housing development, in which the first phase includes 2 38-unit apartment buildings with future plans for 3 additional buildings. Keepers undertook a wetland delineation study of the project site. The delineation report, which was included as Exhibit 3, determined that approximately 1.11 acres planned for the building and roadway sites are classified as type 1, 2, or 3 wetlands. Mitigation of the wetlands may be accomplished by buying wetland credits on the basis of 2 credit acres for each actual wetland acre. The estimated cost for 2.22 acres of wetland credits is $155,400 plus engineering and administrative fees. City Council established the spending plan in December 2022 by transferring $2,329,478 of unobligated TIF District 7 funds to the spending plan. Funds in the spending plan are authorized, and I'm quoting here, provide assistance to private development consisting of the development of a variety of housing to address the city's housing needs. This includes, but is not limited to, both market rate and workforce housing, along with a combination of owner and rental, owner-occupied and rental housing. Spending plan currently has $1 million in uncommitted funds that may be directed to assist keepers and the city, I want to emphasize the city, in mitigating the wetlands identified in both the developer's building site and the proposed street right-of-way. Council is requested to commit spending plan funds to reimburse the developer for wetland mitigation in both the building and right-of-way sites. The estimated cost is $155,400 plus reimbursable expenses.
What would be considered a reimbursable expense?
The engineering report that did the delineation and working on the mitigation plan with the DNR and MPCA, whatever agency it is that controls it. In this case, the same consulting firm is, as the city has retained to act as our consultant on regional stormwater plans and stormwater ponds. They're also the same engineering firm that is working with keepers on their site development plan, so it's very seamless to continue moving
Mike.
forward.
So if they don't do this, buy these credits, then they have to build a stormwater plant?
That would be another alternative, yes, which would then take up developable space.
Okay. It probably has a lot more cost.
Probably, yes.
Okay. And we don't think we'll have problems, water issue problems in that area without the fund?
If you stop by, drive by, study the site, wetlands are often determined not by the fact that there might actually be water or a slough or cattails. It has to do in large part with the types of soils. So this area may have been somewhat of a wetland 100 years ago, prior to it being under tillage, and it still retains those types of soils. So this is not an uncommon occurrence that crops up in this area, where we have what are determined or classified as wetland soils, but they're not actually, have not been a water-bearing wetland area.
And they don't have any of the, what do I wanna say, the sludge from our lake that.
No,
was
that is,
there.
that did not,
That's over on the other side.
on the other side of the roadway, yeah, on the east side of the roadway.
So when you buy wetland credits, is there still will DNR still call for some kind of mitigation, or?
No, this is the mitigation.
Okay.
In place of establishing replacement wetlands, you pay into a fund for credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure we're
Yep,
getting double hit.
correct.
So what's this fund used for, they're paying this money
In December 22, the legislature had a short window in which you could take unobligated TIF district funds and put it into what you call a spending plan, which then the value of that is it allows the flexibility to use those funds for items that you have identified and can be used throughout anywhere in the city. They're not restricted to the use only in that TIF district. So in December 2022, City Council established that fund, transferred the $2.3 million into it, primarily to fund using the directive at establishing more housing. The one unique factor with this spending plan is that the city cannot actually spend those funds directly. They can only give them to a developer. So this is a perfect example of how these funds can be used. And Keepers and their engineer will undertake all of the work necessary. And then all we do is, if this is approved, is we pay them, reimburse them on the expenses that they actually incurred for this. And the other unique factor in this is we're in the process of wrapping up design to build that road through there. Those wetlands actually extend into the roadway. We would have had to mitigate those wetlands that we would be crossing through. This way it's all being done in one fell swoop by one party. And since those funds were set aside with the primary purpose of assisting market rate rental housing, this falls into the perfect application of those funds. And the spending plan terminates at the end of this year. Any unspent funds are transferred back into the TIF district, and then the restrictions that that TIF district has would then be reimposed. So this is a very fortunate use of these funds, and probably fortunate that
Timing is good.
the timing came up on Wednesday night last week, and we were able to investigate, and I talked to the developers, I talked to the engineers, so I could fully understand what the process was, and so staff recommends wholeheartedly that council approve this transfer of, or to use these funds.
But I understand our side of it, but buying these credits, that money goes to the state. What's
Yeah.
that- I mean, what's that do?
They probably buy land and establish new wetlands to make up for, you know, maybe highway projects or other projects. So,
Otherwise, they would deem undevelopable property.
well, it's undevelopable until it's mitigated, and part of that mitigation may be that you have to establish like wetlands on that property, which then reduces the buildable area and may, you know, where their master plan has 5 of these apartment buildings, maybe they lose one because we have to use up buildable area for a new wetland.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Engineering.
Evening. My first item is resolution pertaining to intent to bond for costs incurred in making public improvements to comply with federal tax regulations and Minnesota statute section 429, the city must adopt a resolution stating its intent to reimburse itself with bond proceed for project costs incurred before bonds are issued. It is common for the city to cover early project expenses using internal funds and issue bond later when project costs justified. Staff recommends that the city council approve the reimbursement resolution shown in Exhibit 1 for the East Flower Lane improvement project. The amount listed in each resolution are approximately 10% higher than the current project estimates to allow for the cost adjustment.
Yeah, just to remind council, this is a standard practice the city undertakes about every fourth year or so. We bond to replenish our street project funding, and we're getting that spent down from the last bond, and so this is a common practice that we replenish.
Interest rate is decent, or
What's that?
interest rate on these?
Well, the last I talked to our bond counsel, she was estimating bonds at 5%. They're hoping they come in at 4%, but I think the last bonds that we issued were closer to 3.5%. We are looking at likely bonding in 2026 to replenish that fund, so we'll see where the bond market is and what direction it's going. By 2027, we definitely would have to bond.
Move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Second item is approve AT grant agreement and supporting documents for East Okabena Lake Trail project. The city of Worthington has been awarded $1 million in active transportation AT funding from the state of Minnesota for the East Okabena Lake Trail project. Included in Exhibit 2 is the AT grant agreement along with the following supporting documents. Exhibit 2A is completed source and uses of funds schedule. 2B is grant application. 2C is grantee resolution approving grant agreement. Staff recommends that the council approve the AT grant agreement in Exhibit 2 along with resolution in Exhibit 2C.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Do we need to do each individual exhibit, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
The two
All right.
is-
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
The third item is approved plans for East Flower Lane Street and utility improvements and authorized advertisement for bid. City staff has prepared this plan and specification for the East Flower Lane Street and utility improvement project. The project is scheduled for underground utility construction and first lift of pavement during the 2025 season if council choose to go with the bituminous option. Otherwise, we'll pave everything with concrete the same year, this year and then this year. Staff requesting the city council approve the plans and specifications and authorize the advertisement for bid. The plans and specifications are attached as Exhibit 3A for council's review. Bids will be received until 2 p.m. on June 18th, 2025 and will be brought forward for consideration of award at the June 23rd, 2025 city council meeting. Staff recommends council pass the resolution approving plans and authorize advertisement for bid in Exhibit 3B. Just on that extension of the wetland, this plan includes the soil correction of wetland area, which means we'll dig whatever is not usable for the base and replace with the better material for the street bedding. So we don't have to worry about soil being muddy or too mushy, and that's what extra cost is involved in the plan for wetland.
So does that mean we have to buy less credit?
No.
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 Credit stays the same, but because there's a wetland, we have to remove whatever
Okay.
unusable soil is and replace with the better material.
Is there,
Amy, questions?
sorry,
Can you clarify what you mentioned at the beginning where you said, we're gonna do this if we choose
we're sending out bids for both options again, bituminous and concrete. And, at the award, you're gonna choose either we're gonna award as a bituminous option or a concrete option. And if we choose to go with the concrete option, the pavement schedule will be, by end of the year, so everything will be paved, concrete, street will be paved, period. If we go with the bituminous option, we'll pave first lift, we usually do the 2 lifts of a total of 5 inches, maybe 3 and 2, 2 and 3, something like that. We'll pave the first lift of bituminous later, and then we'll come back next year, have everything settled down because we're doing the underground work. And next year it'll be a little bumpy, so we'll come back early spring with the second lift, making everything smooth and match with the curb and gutter lip line, and making everything smooth next year.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is, I just want to double check that I don't see on the plan like sidewalks or trails or anything included. That will come later.
Should have been included, sidewalk and everything.
The,
Maybe I have uploaded 90% plan, which didn't include, but we have 95 or completed plan, including sidewalk, underground, everything.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Fourth item is amended license agreement with Minnesota Energy Resources Corporation for East Okabena Trail. At the special council meeting held on April 16th, 2025, the council approved the license agreement with Minnesota Energy Resource Corporation, MERC, for the development and use of East Okabena Trail on the portion of MERC's property. Regional agreements regarding the terms and termination notice. The amended agreement reflects the following revised terms. So basically the change was instead of 25-year term agreement, they wanted to go with 20-year term, and termination period, instead of 90 days notice, they want to extend it to 180 days written notice. And everything else, other conditions stays the same, just that 2 conditions they wanted to revise. Staff recommends that the council approve the amended license agreement with Minnesota Energy Resources Corporation, reflecting the revised terms and termination provision for the East Okabena Trail.
Mike?
I'm curious, why are they changing the initial term from 25 down to 20?
We weren't sure why, and we explained it. 25-year term is pretty typical throughout any other cities when the city brings up, but some reason they felt a little more comfortable with 20 years.
Not sure.
And we made sure they have no intention of terminating this agreement at any time soon or within this first 20-year term, so we are not really concerned anything about this 20-year term. And during or after this agreement term, we can proceed with purchasing that right-of-way as a right-of-way, so we own that easement or that wherever the trail goes through, and we just have an option in the future to do whatever we want to do.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay. We need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
My last item is to acquire a section of parcel 31-3497-250. As part of the Service Drive, Service Road Utility and Street Improvement Project, staff has identified the need to acquire a portion of parcel 31-3497-250, owned by Roger and Ann Baskey at 2221 Oxford Street. Acquisition of this land is necessary to accommodate proper roadway alignment and support ongoing infrastructure improvements in the area. This section will also serve as a vital connection between Service Drive and the Service Road, and is being planned as potential detour route for the 2026-2027 Trunk Highway 5960 Termit project. Securing this right of way is essential to ensure uninterrupted traffic flow during future state highway construction. An appraisal completed in April determined the value of the land to be $50,000. Purchase agreement reflecting this valuation has been signed by the property owners and is included as Exhibit 5. Staff is requesting council approve to proceed with the acquisition as outlined in the agreement. Council is requested to approve the purchase agreement and authorize the acquisition of the necessary right-of-way.
Is that purchased with turnback funds, or is it just our stuff?
Nope, this will be straight from the 401 fund.
Will this be part of an accessible property?
Not this, to purchase, yep. This is just straight up purchasing the right of way, nothing to do with, accessible rate.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Okay, we've got on to, committee reports. I have nothing. Amy?
I have no report.
No report.
Mike?
The CBB, marketing committee met, been working on some different packages to bring people to town. Right now, we have one going for Memorial Auditorium package, which will pay for their hotel room, 2 tickets to a show at Memorial Auditorium, and a $60 gift certificate for dinner. The total cost on it is $330, and we're gonna subsidize that down to $200. So we're hoping, Tammy's talking about advertising it on our website when the new season comes out. So I think that'll bring some activity to Worthington. The closing date on Prairie Acres is set for Friday, so that should be wrapped up. We had the Law Enforcement Center meeting, me and Dennis went to, and gave a report on what they're doing with the old Kids Peace area out there. They're turning that into a behavioral health stabilization center is what they're calling it, which will, when police or law enforcement pick up someone that really falls into the mental health part of it, you're gonna be able to take them here, use those beds in that area. So the only concern I have is they're not talking much about securing that building. So I'm hoping maybe Steve and Troy can do something there, because if they bring someone in and it's not a secure facility, that person could just walk out. And does that become our problem in our community? From another county or city? That's my concern.
I'm just thinking too, I think the Unity House is a locked facility, since they have staff 24/7. Cause I know we always have to buzz in, or, as far as ambulance calls or something, not sure, yeah, it's,
So that's it.
okay. Chris?
I attended the Public Arts Commission in place of, Councilman Jansen. They're, just a brief update, they're working on new signage on some public art pieces, and addressing some upkeep of some public art that's showing some wear and tear. They got a couple other things in the irons in the fire, but, that's the update from them for now.